did that for a week. And then finally I'd hit the waiting is the hardest part. Every day get one more yard. I think it's a very special record, and it's certainly rock and roll. It's a very electric record, and no ballads. Sometimes the song can come so fast that you're suspicious of where it came from.
Tom Petty's remarkable career spanned over 4 decades, cementing his place as one of rock and roll's most enduring and influential figures.
Down a dirty road, started out.
Known for his unparalleled craftsmanship as a songwriter, his deep connection to his audience, and his willingness to push the boundaries of his sound, Petty's music became the soundtrack to millions of lives. But as with all great artists, there was an inevitable challenge: how to balance the pressure of playing the songs that had defined his career while still maintaining a sense of excitement and artistic integrity. Petty once said, "The music's always been a way to connect to people," and connect he did. Yet, as with any artist who achieves such monumental success, the question arises: how does one reconcile the artistic desire for growth and innovation with the responsibility to honor the expectations of a dedicated fanbase? For Tom Petty, the answer was a delicate dance. He had his favorites, songs he knew the fans were coming to hear, no matter how many times they had been played. But Petty's approach to these hit songs was far from conventional. Rather than seeing them as shackles, he used them as opportunities to continually reinvigorate his live performances. Through subtle changes in arrangements, placement in the set list, and a deep understanding of his audience's energy, Petty managed to keep these iconic songs fresh for both himself and his fans. Many artists can be burdened by their most famous songs. For some, the pressure to keep playing them year after year becomes an oppressive weight. Radiohead's Tom York, for example, famously grew frustrated with Creep, the song that made the band global superstars. The band even refused to play it for a time, a rebellion against what they saw as the superficiality of fan expectations. York himself described the experience as living through the same 4.5 minutes of our lives over and over again, while guitarist Johnny Greenwood recalled it as incredibly stultifying. Similarly, when Petty first acknowledged his own hit song fatigue, he was keen to highlight that even though he too could tire of performing the same songs repeatedly, there was always a way to keep things fresh. "I try to put them where they're going to have the most impact," he said. "I don't like to always save them for the end or whatever." It was this awareness of the ebb and flow of live performances that set Petty apart. He understood that the crowd's energy could change dramatically throughout a show, and he learned how to read that energy like a master. "I don't want to get tired of them," he said, "but they really want it, you know, so I just have to remind myself that I'm the same way. If I go to see Ray Charles, I really want what I say. He's probably really tired of playing it, but that's part of the deal." But what were these songs that Petty could not escape, the ones that had to be played night after night on every tour? According to Petty, there were 3 that consistently made their way into his set lists: Free Fallin', Refugee, and Mary Jane's Last Dance. These songs, each a cornerstone of his catalogue, were undeniably tied to his legacy as a songwriter and performer. Free Fallin', released in 1989 as part of Petty's first solo album Full Moon Fever, became an instant classic. The song's soaring chorus and melancholic tone made it a staple of the American rock landscape, and it was one of the most recognizable songs of Petty's career. Despite its ubiquity, Petty never tired of playing it. But he also knew that the emotional punch it carried could easily be dulled if it was not played in the right context. So, rather than relegating it to the end of the show, as many artists might have done with their most famous track, Petty would often find ways to keep it in the center of the setlist, depending on the mood of the audience. "Free Fallin' was a big one for me," Petty said, reflecting on the song's place in his repertoire. "When we first did it, I didn't really know how big it was going to get, but it became the thing. It's a beautiful song, and it's always been very special to me. I like to change it up though. I like to keep it fresh. I know the audience expects it, but it's my job to give them something more than just the song they're used to hearing. Then there's Refugee, arguably one of Petty's most iconic tracks, released in 1979 as part of Damn the Torpedoes. The song's raw energy and defiant spirit made it an instant anthem, and its place in the live set was a given. But Petty's challenge, again, was to find a way to keep the song engaging for both him and his audience. Refugee is another one that has to be in the set, Petty admitted, but I try to make it feel different every time we play it. Maybe the tempo is a little different tonight, or we stretch out the instrumental break. It's a powerful song, and it always gets a huge reaction, but I try to think of new ways to make it work every time. Finally, Mary Jane's Last Dance, one of Petty's most beloved tracks, first released in 1993, became another inescapable anthem. The song, with its distinctive riff and catchy hook, became a fan favorite, but like the others, Petty understood that repetition could dull its impact, so he kept it in the set, but with a twist. Mary Jane's Last Dance is one of those songs where you can really play around with it, Petty said. The way we perform it, the way it feels, it changes every night. Petty's ability to keep these songs fresh was no accident. He recognized that part of his success as a performer was down to his relationship with the audience. He saw himself not as someone simply giving the crowd what they wanted, but as someone actively engaging with them. It's about reading the room, he explained. I can tell right away when it's the right time to drop one of the big ones. You feel it. The energy shifts, and you know the crowd is ready. Petty's relationship with his music was unique. He wasn't just the guy who wrote the songs, he was also a fan. He knew how it felt to be in the audience, waiting for that one song, that one moment that would make the night unforgettable. I understand what it's like to go see your favorite band and want to hear that one song you love, he said. It's part of the magic of live music. That's why I make sure I'm giving them that moment. But it's also about keeping it exciting for me too. If I don't feel it, then I'm not giving them everything I've got. For Petty, the challenge was not just playing the songs, but finding new ways to experience them. His willingness to experiment with the structure of his set lists was a reflection of his deep respect for both his music and his audience. He knew that fans weren't just there to hear the songs, they were there to experience something real, something alive. I think about it like this. If you're a fan, you want to hear the songs, but you also want to feel like you're part of something bigger. You want to feel like you're seeing something special. That's what I try to give them, Petty explained. As Petty continued to perform these songs over the years, his understanding of their place in his catalogue deepened. He never grew weary of playing them. Instead, he found new ways to approach them, new ways to make them feel as vital as the day he wrote them. For Petty, the key to longevity was not in distancing himself from his hits, but in embracing them with fresh eyes and a sense of adventure. I never took the songs for granted, Petty said. I knew how lucky I was to have them, and I always felt the responsibility to keep them alive. That's what made them special to me. That's what made them special to the audience.